I'll start.
Okay, so you start.
Okay. That's fine.
Lighting it up for a couple of days.
What's that?
I've been lighting it up for a couple of days.
I know.
And the changes got all
Good morning. Welcome and thank you for participating and being part of the College of Medicine Special Hooding Ceremony. We are so delighted to have you all here today. I'm Stephanie Collado. I'm the Assistant Dean of Student Affairs at the University of Illinois College of Medicine. It is my pleasure to serve as MC this morning. This morning's special hooding ceremony provides a more intimate setting where family members, faculty mentors, and friends have an additional opportunity to celebrate this special day. Now I'd like to introduce the Regional Dean of the University of Illinois College of Medicine's Rockford campus, Dr. Alex Stagnaro-Green. Dr. Green will make a few remarks. He is a dean who embodies the greatest attributes of the health sciences campus. He is an expert clinician, a gifted researcher, an outstanding teacher, mentor, and a compassionate leader. Welcome.
Thank you. I think you guys can sit down. Well, good morning. It's such a pleasure to see everybody here today. Thank you, Dean Collado, and welcome to all of you here for the special ceremony for these graduating medical students who have a physician in their family who came before them. This is the first time we're holding this ceremony, and I think it really is wonderful. It gave us an opportunity to not only talk with the students, maybe for one last time, but also to meet the physicians and PhDs in your family who came before you and served as role models. For those physicians, I say thank you for setting an example for our students that made them want to follow in your footsteps into the noble profession of medicine. Having the support of family and friends is crucial to the success of our medical students, and having a physician in your corner who has been through the joys and the stresses that come along with medical school milestones has been a blessing to many of the students here today. To the students, I hope you'll follow their lead and become an example and a mentor. If not to your own family members, to someone in the next generation of physicians coming up behind you. As Dr. Welford said yesterday at the awards ceremony, being a mentor and teaching the next generation of students is one of the fantastic joys of becoming a physician. It is a rewarding experience that can make a huge difference in not just the life of your mentee, but also for their patients for years to come. Dean Collado.
It is now my pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker, Dr. Korhan Rafe. Dr. Rafe is an internist who serves on faculty at the University of Illinois College of Medicine. For 20 years, he's been a physician with the Quincy Medical Group, where he sits on the board of directors and also chairs their Quality Review and Risk Management Committee. Dr. Rafe earned his MD from the Marmara University Medical School in Istanbul, Turkey. He holds an MBA in healthcare management from Regis University and an executive JD in healthcare from Concord Law School. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, Dr. Rafe is the father of both a graduating student, Deniz Rafe, and a Rockford alumni, Con Rafe. Please join us.
Thank you for those kind words. Good morning, everybody. We're here today to celebrate the graduates as they move on to the new stage in their life. It's really quite a privilege to talk to such a distinguished group of people. We have, I can't count, my math is not very good, but quite a few physicians up there and physicians behind them. When I was asked to talk, it's always very hard to talk to a group of highly intellectual people because they know everything. So I wanted to give my take on what I've done for the last 30 years, what I've learned, what things I learned in maybe medical school that, did me some good, and maybe some things that they didn't teach so well that we could always do a little bit better on. So I was given two things when I was making this talk. One is, has to be 5 minutes, which is kind of pretty easy. You can talk about anything, which was really easy. And then yesterday, my wife and daughter pulled me to the side and they said, "Dad, don't tell any jokes." So there will be no jokes, okay? So I'm gonna kind of keep it very mellow and kind of thing. So this is really a bittersweet moment for me, for us, and I think everybody in this room. Our children are graduating. We've always seen them as kids, I think, until this point, and I think they've always been in some way or another dependent on us. But now they're becoming physicians, and they're going to go out to the world, and they're going to start doing some, I think, amazing things. We're really proud that our kids decided to take this long journey because doing medicine is not an easy thing. Doing medicine takes lots and lots and lots of years. And I was recently talking to somebody, and they told me their kids were 30, 32 years old, and they're still studying, and they haven't got married, and they haven't had kids yet. So that was a big thing for that person. So medical education is really long. It's really tough. But in my mind, medical education is a worthy cause. We're really proud of the accomplishments that they have done to get here. As parents, we also struggled with them. They went through their MCAS, their medical school applications, their interviews. They went through all the USMLEs, but USMLE 1 being the worst, of course. And then they finally did their match day, and now they get to this point, which I think is just great. We'll continue to support our kids as they go through their internship and residency, and I think our kids know that, and we should always tell that, because I think the next couple of years, those of us that have been through internship and residency just know how hard that time period is too. We are here to celebrate our kids, but I also think it's very important that we celebrate and we thank the people that helped our kids get here. And top of the line, of course, is UIC teachers, professors, all the support staff from UIC, their friends, their partners, but I think most importantly is the family sitting here in this room that supported them, helped them financially and otherwise to get to this point. But I'd also like to remind family members that there are some family members that probably would want to be here that could not be here today. We have somebody in our family that I'm sure would have liked to be here. So I think we try to remember those people that supported us, that got us here, but unfortunately could not be here with us today. Our children could not have done this without our love, our support, and I'm sure that they appreciate that. And my kids have told me that someday they're going to take me on a nice vacation, so we'll see. I'd just like to close with a couple of words of advice that I've kind of learned through my 25, 26 years plus of practicing. And these are things that have always guided me. And I think sometimes we talk about the Hippocratic Oath a lot and how old it is. And some people now, when I actually did a Google, and I was shocked to see that some people think that the Hippocratic Oath is not relevant anymore. And in my mind, there might be parts that are not relevant, but I think if you take the main meat and bones of the Hippocratic Oath, I think it's still very, very relevant. Being a physician is a very, very noble, old profession. And being included into this profession, I think, brings with it a certain amount of responsibility, dignity, and certain things that are expected of a physician. I think as a physician, anytime you do anything, whether it's at work, or whether it's out in the community, you're walking down the road and you see a piece of garbage on the ground, you pick it up, you put it in the thing, and then somebody behind you, especially if you live in a small community, they look at that and they say, that's a good guy. And that's what you should do. We should always be good examples to everybody. So people, once you guys are MDs now, when you go out into the community, when you work in your hospitals, you go to the supermarket, you go anywhere, people are going to say, that guy is a doctor, that lady is a doctor, and they're going to look up to you. And you should really act accordingly because people look at you because you are community leaders. So always keep that in the back of your mind when you're doing something out there because people do expect a higher standard of you, and I think you should expect a higher standard of yourself. Talking about the Hippocratic Oath was written more than 2,000 years ago, and in my mind, to me, it's still very, very relevant. I know we've had a lot of technology, a lot of information, we've had medications, and things have really changed since 2,000 years ago. But one thing that has basically not changed is the interaction between physicians and patients. And then there's another interaction that I think is very important that we should never forget because I see that we're kind of losing that. And that's the interaction between yourselves, physician to physician, which is that kind of professional courtesy that we always talk about. And people, what is professional courtesy? And I'll kind of get into that just a little bit. So, but to me, there's a lot in the Hippocratic Oath, but there's a couple of ones to me that are important every single day, and I make sure that I never deviate from them. And if you deviate from them, if you're a Harry Potter fan, somewhere in one of the Harry Potter things, it said, like, if you do this, this will break your soul forever. If you deviate from them, I think you will feel guilty. I think you will feel quite poor, and I think it will mentally affect you if you break any of these codes. So to me, the first one is always do no harm, always do what's good for your patient. When I see a patient in the office, that is the thing I always ask myself. I have a 90-year-old person with a headache. Do I really need to do a CT scan on this person? Is it making me happy so I know what the answer is? If it's not going to make the patient better, it's not going to make them. If I can't fix the patient, there's no point in doing a test. So in my mind, I always do things that you have to balance out, and you have to do what's good for the patient. Never break the confidentiality, the trust, or the faith of your patient, because once I think you break that bond, and to me that is a sacred bond, that's a therapeutic bond. Once that bond is gone, I don't think you can ever fix that. Always treat your colleagues with respect and professionalism. And I think this is an art that we have really lost, coming through internship residency, and now I see it even more. How physicians, nurse practitioners, PAs, nurses, pharmacists, how we interact with each other. I think it should always be very, very professional, very respectful. Sometimes we have the attitude, well, I'm the neurosurgeon and I know best, and some intern is calling me and I'm going to give him hell. That's not professional. So, I know some of my kids, and I'm sure some of you kids have seen that going through school, how you're being treated by some of your colleagues. My thing to you would be, if you've seen somebody do that to you, the lesson you should learn from that is you should never do it to somebody else. And if you do, then I think that reflects on you. So always, always, always remember that. Treat every patient equally with dignity, regardless of color, ethnicity, religion, gender identity, and political affiliation. And these are just a few of things. I think there's so many, when you're working in a small community, when you're working in a busy practice, the variety of people that comes in is just, I think, amazing. But ultimately, they're patients, they're there for your help, and you have to do what is good for them, regardless of what you might think. And I think, if you had asked me to do this talk a couple of years ago, I probably wouldn't have put that political affiliation there. I think now we're politically so divided. You can be a Republican, you can be a Democrat, and we absolutely hate each other. And this, I think we as professionals should set an example for other people that this is not okay, that we are a country, we're Americans, and we treat everyone with respect and each other with respect. So, and this I think is also important because if you ever get in trouble and you have a relationship with your colleagues, I had a lady in the CT scan just 3 days ago, came into the office, I ordered a stat CT, this is an outpatient CT, patient's not in the ER. She had a ruptured aortic aneurysm and bleeding, and I immediately picked up the phone, I talked to the vascular surgeon, I talked to the ER doctor, I had good relationships with both of them, and we got that patient taken care of. So always keep those good relationships that you have because I think that's very, very important. Lastly, treat your patients with the best of your knowledge and ability. I think this means you have to stay up to date. You cannot be a good physician, you cannot take care of patients if you do not keep up to date. So you're just graduating from medical school, you have all the knowledge you think you have right now, but I guarantee you 5, 10, 15 years from now, the things that I know now, I didn't know when I graduated from medical school. So it's very important if we're going to treat our patients and treat them to our best, that we stay up to date. One thing that I learned in medical school that I thought was not so good, you know, we always had this thing that there had to be a little distance between a patient and a physician, that you know, you had to have that, you know, we call it like the up and down relationship, and I really very much disagree with that. I have learned that if you treat your patients with respect, you have a good relationship with them, you would treat them exactly the same way you would treat your friends and family, you develop this unbreakable bond that is so important for that therapeutic relationship and understanding that that's absolutely a must, I think. So have a good relationship with your patients, love them. If you love your patient and your profession, give it your best effort, and you will be an amazing physician. If there's one thing I can tell anybody, this would be it. Love your job, love your patients, and if you're a good person, a good physician, there is no way that you will be a bad physician. And I was actually talking to my wife last night. She told me something. Her aunt was a professor of early childhood development, and she was very well known, very well respected. She passed away about 6 months ago, and she would tell her students that everybody would like to come to her classes. If you love students, if you like teaching students, please come to my class. If you don't waste my time and don't waste your time. So I think that, you know, that's the same thing in medicine too. Like, you have to love this job and really enjoy it to give it justice. So don't forget that. A couple more small comments, and I'm almost done. I hope I'm not at the 5-minute mark yet, but the other thing is always be an example to people. Always be a good example. If you're a good example, everybody around you is going to love you, they're going to follow you, you're going to have an amazing, amazing team. Over the years, we've had many of our friends ask us, you know, how did Khan and Dennis decide to go to med school? Did you guys force them to go to med school? And my answer was always, no, you know, me and Aicha, we did what we did, we liked what we did. They saw us every day, and they followed in our footsteps. And a couple of weeks ago after match, we were down at the party, and Dennis was there, and one of my friends, who's a GI doctor, his wife was there, and she came up to me and she said, you know, my husband comes home every day. He is so angry, he's so upset, he's so tired, he's so burned out, he hates his job. Like, if that's the way you come and approach something, then how would you expect your children to love what you do? And how do you expect somebody like that to actually do a good job? You have to do, the only way you can do a really good job is, I think, you have to love your profession. So never forget that. Lastly, we're proud of you all. I think you guys have gone through an amazing journey, and you have taken a very noble journey. You have come to this important day, and you are finally physicians. So my last words of advice for you would be, go out into the world, make your own path, make your school, friends, and family happy so they're proud of you. And most importantly, be a force of good, and do good things. And never forget to have some fun, too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful, very inspirational to all of us. Now I'd like to ask, I'm going to give some instructions and then we'll do it. We didn't rehearse this together, so we're going to have the students rise, not yet, and go to that side, and then we're going to have all of their lovely family members and mentors go to that side, and you can go through the doors, and then we will meet in the middle. There's an X that your students practiced looking at yesterday, so they'll meet you in the middle, and then we'll have you hood them. So with that, I'd like to ask students and the special hooders to rise. Students will go off to your right, and the faculty hooders will go. Perfect. The hood and the rest of the academic dress originated in the 12th and 13th century. The gown and hood would initially have been worn just to keep warm as they studied in cold and drafty buildings. In fact, the hood may have been worn over the head or at times carried as a bag for alms. But this tradition has evolved, and academic regalia is now reserved for festive academic ceremonies. Today, the hooders can fondly remember when this special symbol of academic achievement was bestowed upon them. With their doctoral degrees, the family members have earned the right to be selected to be able to bestow the hoods on these doctoral students in the presence of family and their supporters. So with that, we will begin. Mark Altamari. Mark is being hooded by his father, Dr. Anthony Altamari. Thank you. Joseph Berry. Joseph is being hooded by his mother, Dr. Lori Berry. Blake DePaul. Blake is being hooded today by his sister, Dr. Rhonda Versal. William Graft. William is being hooded by his father-in-law, Dr. Tim Bopp. Zachary Hart. Zach is being hooded by his mom, Dr. Julie Hart. Aaron Heseltine. Aaron is being hooded by his mother-in-law, Dr. Melinda Behrens. Rebecca Heseltine. Rebecca is being hooded by her mother, Dr. Melinda Behrens. Gina Kim. Gina is being hooded by her dad, Hugh Jun Kim. Jessie Kirk. Jessie is being hooded by her aunt, Dr. Saria Sarkosia. Gabrielle Kuhn. Gabrielle is being hooded by her father, Dr. William Kuhn. Andy Marchini. Andy is being hooded by her mentor, Dr. Connie Vitale. Timothy Mason. Timothy is being hooded by his dad, Dr. Richard Mason. Maya McLean. Maya is being hooded by her mother, Dr. Monica McLean. Jessica Perkle. Jessica is being hooded by her mentor, Dr. Connie Vitale. Deniz Rafe. Deniz is being hooded by her father, Dr. Korhan Rafe, her mother, Dr. Aicha Rafe, and her brother and alumni, Con Rafe. Katrina Soyenko. Katrina is being hooded by her father, Dr. Angelo Soyenko, and her mother, Dr. Beverly Soyenko. Maria Isabel Van Gundy. Maria is being hooded by her father, Dr. Ramon Clamaco, and her sister, Dr. Diana Smith. Alexander Wheat. Alexander is being hooded by his wife and Rockford alumni, Emily Wheat. Congratulations to our graduates. I'd like to especially thank the family and mentor hooders for their family participation, and for all of you who attended this memorable event. This concludes the special hooding ceremony. Feel free to get up, take some photos, more photos, and enjoy your special day. Thank you.